Yes, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking. People hearing without listening. People writing songs and voices never shared. And no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool, said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning, and the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls, in tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
That just kills me. Before I do Ezra's thing, again, I was up at 4 this morning. So last time I did this thing and I was critiquing and I fucked it all up. So I just say, okay, none of this, and grab myself a drink and another drink, and it wasn't pissing me off, but it did bother me. So I did it again. So yeah, I might have been feeling a little bit good. my kid got up for work 4:30 or something and found me asleep at the desk. Um, but whatever, man. Uh, you know, I am just man, and like I tell the ladies at different buildings, office buildings, government buildings, I'm just a guy, right? Yeah, it's a DNA thing, and it's real. It's real. So, anyways, I'm just going to do something short here, and then I'm going to get into the Ezra thing, and I'm going to break them up so I don't screw it all up, like I have done already twice. But the first thing I wish to do. Oof. You guys know what this is? Anybody? Speak up. Oh yeah, I can't do live stream because I got dinosaur internet. Okay. Anyways, this here, I was reading about this a number of years back, and fuck, I wish I didn't have to wear these head condoms. But anyways, I was reading about this. Now, this is the crown of Charlemagne. Charlemagne was the First Reich, the first reign, and I forget which king had it for the second reign. This thing's old, a couple thousand years old almost. And then when Hitler got his hold of it, now Austria had it at the time that the fascists took over Germany during the 1930s. Hitler got a hold of it, and this is what he declared the Third Reich. Okay. Now, I noticed that Europe is now in the. Sure hope I didn't. No, I'm good. Okay. A lot of times when I was going to a page, I don't know what the fuck I did, so I'm not even going to go there. I don't care. I'm here now. But, so Hitler had it for the third reign, and it's like everybody who gets this rudimentary looking antique piece of jewelry seems to wish to rule the world all of a sudden by way of fascism. Now, thank God, Brexit. Those folks over on Ireland are now attacking fascism and getting fascism out. And so they had brought this thing over to, I believe it was Brussels for a time, back when I was reading about it, and they were talking about the fifth reign. So I think these European Union guys thought they were going to reign for 1,000 years, just like Hitler on their fifth reign. But those bloody Christians, those God-fearing folks over in merry old England, they put an end to that. Thank God. But anyways, I couldn't find anything for the life of me about the fourth reign. Where was the fourth reign? Who was the fourth reign? So maybe if you can, if you know something about the Fourth Reich, the fourth reign of the crown of Charlemagne, maybe you can post it for folks, because no idea. But here's where we're at now. We're at a place where we have those of mankind who act and believe in fascism have infiltrated our public service and now are attacking any man or woman who does wish to speak up about their rights. They've infiltrated our courts. They've infiltrated the medical society, the legal society, many organs and societies that operate on this land, and I believe that they are all entitled to reign over, everyone. And I will explain that in a bit when I'm doing the Ezra, but you got to remember that your entitlement only allows you to be entitled to the allotment of your title. Okay, so when you walk around acting as a person, you're acting under title and under the jurisdiction of whoever created said title. So if Canada interprets, okay, if it is interpreted in Canada under the Interpretation Act that a person is a corporation, whenever you identify as a person within Canada, within the country, then you are now declaring that you are a corporation subject to the parent company, the corporate body politic over your ass. All right? And this is why so many folks are having troubles in court. This is why so many people are having troubles staying away from court, and nobody knows who they are or what manner of man or woman they are anymore, because we've all been dumbed down through willful ignorance and hiding our heads in the sand and trying to hide to keep the establishment from coming and crushing you and your family, right? And it's not getting any better. I don't know why folks are so happy about the way things are going within this nation and with the country Canada, and the shills the fascists that have infiltrated our nation and are attacking any man or woman who stands up contrary to the belief of the fascists that run this place. Now this guy here, oh, okay, why do I have that up twice? Oh, I don't. Now here's a man here. This man was a nationalist, a Canadian nationalist. He was a man who acted as a Canadian nationalist, believed in his nation and his fellow man. I just want you to have a peek at his eyes, okay? And those are the eyes of someone who is focused and who is determined. I don't know if this man has any descendants still on this land that we identify as Canada within this nation. I sure hope he does. I hope he had like 19 kids, and I hope they're. Well, if he did have kids, they're probably, 2 out of the 3 people protesting. The fascists that have taken over our government. But his name is Banning. He's a veteran. He's the man who perfected the use of insulin to treat diabetes in humans. Tried several times to join the army when the war broke out in 1914, but was rejected because he had poor eyesight. He was finally accepted in 1915 because he kept bugging these guys and he did his basic training and then returned back to medical school. Yeah, he was pretty much told, do your basic training, you can be a reservist, but you're going back to medical school because, we've needed doctors back then. We still need doctors today. Excuse me. When he graduated in 1916, there was a push to get more doctors into the service, so he reported to duty the day after his graduation. He won the Military Cross for Heroism in 1918 at the Battle of Cambrai, where he tended wounded men for 16 hours while he himself was wounded. My dog's really, really good at opening doors. My property, but she isn't that good at closing doors. I don't know. Must have had a bad teacher. So this is the face of a man a Canadian man, or a man who's Canadian, um, that gave a shit about his fellow man and gave a shit about his nation. And I don't know how many countless lives he saved. I don't know how many countless lives this man did save, because when he got back from the war, he was able to finish uh, perfecting the insulin so that many can live. So whether you're an anti-fascist fascist, whether you are a public actor, corporate actor, uh, an actor, any corporate person, any person that identifies as Canadian, that seems to hate um, this nation and hate freedom and hate any man or woman who stands to be heard about their freely expressed opinion, as is and has been the right of every man and woman on this land since before any kind of constitutions were written, any kind of indentures for the corporate trust were written. So, anyways, yeah, I just want you to look at this guy. So, you're honoring a man who freely chose to go and fight against not only our native-born, but also those of our allies that were sent to free a nation from tyranny, and a nation where they hate women, a nation where if you're an orphan boy, or say from a lower standing, then it's okay to, sexually abuse any of those boys, because first off, they're not considered. It's like the Nazis when the Supreme Court deemed Supreme Court of Germany deemed that Jews were parasites and not people. And Islam does the same thing with young boys, and therefore they can do whatever they wish with them, and they're not breaking any laws. I hear a lot of connection between these fascists that have infiltrated our our public service, that are here to serve this nation, to keep the Queen's oath to the people of the land. Excuse me. Ay, corona. So Banting served in France, and he was in the rear hospitals as well as the aid stations on the front lines. His training as an orthopedic surgeon would have served him well in this situation. Yeah, there's a lot of bad things that happen to your feet when you were on the lines and living in puddles and mud and so on and so forth. But Banting was involved in the Battle of Canal du Nord. The battle had many casualties, and Banting was wounded in the arm by a piece of shrapnel. So this isn't a sliver, okay? This is, and usually when shrapnel hits a man or a woman's body, it's very, very fucking hot, and it does sear itself in, as well as being usually fairly sharp and not of small stature. So even many casualties, and Banting was wounded in the army by a piece of shrapnel. Yeah, even though Banting, who was told to go and get his wound taken care of, he continued helping out other injured soldiers for about another 17 hours before he was taken away to be treated. Taken away to be treated is probably his buddies threw a sack over him and dragged him down to go get treated so he wouldn't lose his arm. And it was 50-50 whether the man was going to lose his arm or not. All right. And selflessly stayed and took care of his fellow man, wounded. And you got to remember, and someone just recently reminded me of this, that when you're a medical, and not just an officer, but when you're a medical officer, whatever, medic, you have say over things. It'd have to come through a chain of command to overrule you. So, like, if there was nobody of a higher title than this man at the time, nobody could force him to go get his arm fixed, right? So that's just something else, you know. Out of curiosity. And yeah, this is a man that the fascists hate. This is the type of man on this land that the fascists that have taken over this nation and that are ruling this nation by trickery through legalese and legal loopholes, and are now attacking your kids and your way of life through propaganda and legal excuses. So this man would be considered an enemy of the state today. So kind of like Jordan Peterson, you know, who didn't go to battle in any front lines, but did go to battle in the front line with those fascists that are operating as public servants, or posing as public servants. So I just wanted to bring that up. I think it's important that you know, look, if you don't know where you come from, how the hell are you supposed to know where you're going? Right? So, just. And of course, we always have the drums and the pipes until they're outlawed. Which, who knows when the fascists in Ottawa and within legislatures will outlaw our military traditions of, and like I say, the pipes and the drum represent, you know, the call to fight and the call to freedom.
It's called Tuba! 5 minutes. Yep.
as I was spinning around. Oh, there we go. Jeez. Don't let the fascists destroy this land, destroy this nation, and destroy your family. It's time to stand up, folks.